flower basket, 12-inch block, 12-inch finished. Here's the diagram, and there are half square triangles, flying geese, and squares in this block. Here is the block. It's set on the diagonal or on point. And here are the patches. There are 5 of them. We have patch A is a 2-inch finished square. We cut them 2.5 inches by 2.5 inches. And we need 2 from the background and 10 assorted pieces for the flowers. Patch B is a 2-inch finished half square triangle. We'll cut squares that are 2 7/8 inches. Cut them in half once diagonally for 2 patches. We'll need 6 patches for the background and assorted 13 patches for the flowers. These are the tips, and also for the basket. So you'll probably want to cut 2 of them the same fabric as the basket fabric. I chose 2 of these for the basket, and then the other 11 I chose 6 different fabrics, and I cut 1 square from each and had 2 half square triangles from each, so I had an extra one. Patch C is a 1/4 square triangle, 4-inch finished. We'll cut 1 square 5 1/4 inches, then cut it in half diagonally twice, and we'll get 4 patches. We only need 2 patches for the background, so we'll have 2 patches left over. Patch D is a 2-inch by 8-inch finished rectangle, and that are the sides here. We'll cut 8.5 inches by 2.5 inches, and we'll need 2 patches for the background fabric. Patch E is a 6-inch finished half square triangle, and that is the basket part here. We'll cut up 1 square 6 7/8 inches, cut it in half once diagonally, and we'll have 2 patches, but we just need 1 patch. Here are the fabrics I've chosen, and this is from the Primitive Gatherings, Garden Gatherings collection from Moda. Here is the basket fabric, and then the 2 little basket legs. The squares are here, and this is for the flying geese, the background, and here are the half square triangles, and 4 of these will go for the flying geese. And here is the background on the long side. There are a lot of different ways to put this together, but I just came up with one that seemed logical to me. If you have a better way that you want to put it together, then just go for it, because there's just plenty of different ways you can do it. The first thing I'm going to do is make the flying geese and the half square triangles. I'm going to just sew all those that need to be sewn. And then this part, and then the next page, I have instructions for the method I use to piece them together. So now I'll do the half square triangles and the flying geese, and we'll come back and lay out the block. I hand cut these half square triangles, or everything here. I hand cut it, and I wanted to show you how I make the flying geese. So I'll have these are what I'll put on here, and I turn this over and line up this corner, the bottom corner, and line up the bottom of the 2 fabrics here and the side. So you have 3 points, the bottom, the side, and the point. Then you put it in your machine and you start 1/4 inch and stitch all the way down, 1/4 inch. Then you'll open it up, press it, and after you stitch it, you'll press your seams open. Down here you'll have 2 nubs you'll need to cut off, and I just use my scissors to cut those off. And up here, I cut this little nub off even. I take my scissors and just cut it off even with the top part of the triangle, this part here, so just make it straight. And then I'll cut these off. Next, you'll do this side the same way. Line up the point, the bottom, and this edge, and stitch your 1/4 inch. This little angle you have here, you should come out right where the 2 fabrics meet, right at there in that point. We have the flying geese and all of our half square triangles pieced. I've separated out the half square triangles for the basket, and I'm going to just separate these. We'll put them on the blocket board to lay out the design. I'm going to start with the basket and put it here. put this side piece here. And I'm just following the diagram. Let's put this first. These are little basket legs in the corner. We have 3 of these half square triangles that don't have a background, and they go like this. Now we have the block all laid out. My next step in the instructions is to piece this unit here. And there it's numbered 1 through 4. And we're going to stitch these columns first, number 1, 2, and 3. Then we'll stitch these 3 columns together and then stitch it to the half square triangle, the basket. So this is column 1, and we're just ignoring these for now. This is column 1. We'll stitch these 2 together, then stitch these 3 together, and these 4 together. Once those are pressed, we're going to stitch number 1 to number 2, and then this to number 3. Once that is done, we'll be able to stitch it to this big half square triangle, which is the basket. Here's what I've done so far. These little nubs here will be cut off straight with the square, so this and this. Now when you're piecing this half square triangle to this square, line up the square edges. See, the half square triangle goes like this. Here's the 90 degree. So line these up. When you put these together, line up this edge and that edge. Then you're going to stitch this way. I've stitched these 2 together, and I wanted to show you when you trim off these nubs, you're going to have a little bit of the triangle is going to be blunt like this, so don't worry about it. Just trim off those nubs even with the square. And when you sew these together, you're going to match the tops and match the seams here. And then when you get down here, let's turn this around. You've got your little V here again, so you need to stitch right in the corner of that. Once you press it open, you'll have a nice straight edge here. Then you'll cut off this nub. But you'll do the same thing here. We're going to match the top, the seams, and then here you see it's going to have a little V. Just make sure that your little V, move that over. When you get there, this should be your 1/4 of an inch right there. So now we have our first 3 columns stitched. And I'm going to trim off these nubs here. Now we'll match our half square triangle like this. So we'll see how this comes out. I've never done anything like this before. What I'm going to do is match this bottom part, because I have a nice straight edge there and a nice straight edge on the triangle. Then I'm going to put it in the machine. And look what I have here. I've got my nice little angle here in the point, so I'll need to start stitching right in there, and that should be my 1/4 of an inch. So I'll stitch there and just come all the way down and come off this edge at a 1/4 of an inch. When you're stitching this and you start at your 1/4 of an inch, you have 2 points here you need to not cut off. So come down a 1/4 of an inch and then aim for this point here where the 3 fabrics meet, and then keep stitching. And you have another part here where the 3 fabrics meet. You want to stitch right there in that point, and then keep going down and stitch a 1/4 of an inch off here. And you want to be careful on this edge here. It's a bias edge, so don't stretch or pull anything while you're stitching. Now here's this big unit. It's finished. So we check our points. They look good. And then we'll have nubs to cut off here and right here. Now we'll bring our Prop-It board back in, and see here's a nice empty spot here we can fill in, and we put this there. On the next page, step 4, it shows using half square triangles, the flying geese, and some squares. And we're going to piece this unit here. And that is this right here. These 4 squares, 2 half square triangles, and the flying geese unit. So we're leaving off the top and the bottom for now. We'll go ahead and piece these together, piece this together, and then piece the 2 columns or rows together. Now this piece is done, and I'm going to stitch it to this piece here. Next we'll work on the top and the bottom in this side. These are 3 easy pieces to make, so just follow the diagrams and sew those together. Then we'll sew, this is the bottom piece, this is the top, and this is the left-hand side. We're going to sew the top and bottoms first, and then sew the left-hand side on. Thanks for watching.